Okay, so the first thing I want to do, I like to basically cut off some of the excess fat on my lamb chops. And some people will differ with that. Some people say to leave the layer of fat on because it adds to the flavor of the chop itself once it's cooked. I don't like too much fat. I like just the meat portions. And I also like the lamb chops lollipop fashion. So I'm going to individually slice each of these lamb chops, and they're going to be like little lollipops. And as you can see, as I said, it has the Frenching of the bone, and I will basically cut each individual lamb chop, and you'll be able to basically hold it like a lollipop. So what I'm doing now, as I said, is cutting off all of the extra fat so that I don't have an overabundance of fat as I season them and cook them. Okay, we're back, and I'm going to show you basically how to cut the lamb chops individually off the flank, because that's how you're going to get your lollipop effect. And sometimes it's a little bit tricky because these lamb chops can be at an angle on the flank, as these are. So what you basically have to do is try to establish where the bones are in the flank. I don't cut on the fleshy side, on the meaty side, because you really can't determine where the individual bones are. So you turn it on its backside like that, with the bones exposed and facing you. And I take my cleaver, and I very gently go in between each one. And as I do that, that gives me the lollipop effect that I'm looking for. One thing you might want to be careful about when you do this is how you actually slice the lamb chops. This one is pretty thin, and what happens is when you fry it down, sometimes they shrink on you and they come out a little bit smaller than you expected them to be. So just be mindful of that as you cut into the meat to make your lollipop lamb chop. Okay, so we're back, and we have chopped and sliced the lamb chops into lollipop cuts. And this is basically what they look like. There was many more, but I just used these select few to show you how I'm going to season them. And they look really nice. And again, the shank is Frenched. The bones are Frenched, and looks like a real good piece. But anyway, for today's cooking show, we're going to use very simple ingredients, very simple, nothing over the top. We're going to take the zest of some lemon, and I'm going to incorporate a little zest of orange. That's my own little spin on things, because I want to have some orange zest as well as lemon zest for the citrus tang in the lamb chop lollipops. We also have some thyme, rosemary, some whole kernel peppers, some sea salt, and some extra virgin olive oil. And what I'm going to do is make a small paste mixture of all of these ingredients. Mix them up really good in a little paste, and I'm going to marinate these lamb chops for about 4 hours in a bowl in my mixture. And that's all the seasoning that you need, because basically with lamb chops, again, the flavor should shine through of the meat. You don't want to overpower the taste and the flavor of the lamb chops themselves with a bunch of seasoning. I'm not big on that. I want to taste the flavor of the meat, so I will gently season it with these seasonings that I'm showing you here. Very elementary. And then we will sear these lamb chop lollipops on a skillet, and we'll get to that in a moment. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and I just wanted to add another ingredient, which I left out in the first piece, to the lamb chop lollipops, and that's going to be a nice clove of garlic. For this recipe, I used about 7 or 8 cloves of garlic, and you can use as many as you like to appease and please your own palate. I like the strong flavor of garlic to shine through, especially in these lamb chops. I consider it like my secret ingredient. So I'm going to finely chop this garlic, and I'm going to add it into the lamb chops. which have already been seasoned. And I'm going to throw the garlic on top of it, and I'm going to... Okay, welcome back to the show. So now we have marinated the lollipop lamb chops for a good piece of time, and we're about to basically grill them on the grill. Now you see here, I have a cast iron grill with ridges on it, so I want to get those beautiful charred lines on the lamb chops. And over here I have my typical classic cast iron skillet, because I'm actually going to stir fry with some light olive oil some fresh asparagus, which is actually blanching right now. I'm going to cook the lollipop lamb chops first, and then I will catch up with the asparagus later. Baked potato in the oven. So basically, after marinating, this is what the lamb chops look like. And I know it doesn't look like much now. In fact, it looks pretty questionable. But I promise you, when we're done, they're going to be the most tastiest morsels you could ever desire to sink your teeth into. Okay, we're back, and we have the skillet nice and hot. It's been preheated to a good degree. And these lamb chops don't take a lot or a long time to really cook. They really cook relatively fast. So what we do, we lay them down cross-section wise so we can get those nice grill marks on them. And probably the most important thing is, again, as in you'll see in most all of my videos, it's critical that you do not let the meat touch one another, because if you do that, it sweats the meat and then you have a bad product. So we're laying out the lamb chops on the grill now, making sure not to touch them next to one another, because that would defeat the entire premise. Trying to space them properly, and I'm going to cook these just long enough so they get nice grill marks on both sides. And we'll see you back here when we have that done. Okay, so we've been grilling them now for about 3 minutes. We're going to continue grilling for about another 2 to 3 minutes. Again, with lamb chop lollipops, you don't want to overdo them. In fact, I was once told that lamb chops should be served at about a medium well doneness. I like my meat, as I've said before, well done, so I'm going to be cooking these well. I want those sear marks to really get through and make them look as tasty as they will taste to my palate. Okay, so after about, I'd say 5 minutes on one side, I flipped them, and you can see the sear marks, which is exactly what you want to do, because searing, it sears the juice in the chop. So with each bite you take, you get that juicy flavor along with all of the wonderful seasonings, the zest, the thyme, and all the other seasonings that you use to make this dish. So it's important that you time your searing perfectly. Also, it's very, very suggestive. It's very, I would suggest it highly that with lamb chops, you can serve it with a white Mediterranean pickled sauce. It's a white sauce with, it's basically yogurt with pickles in it. And you can just put a dollop on your plate, and you can dip the lamb chop lollipop into the sauce. And believe me, it's a real wonderful taste. To have the yogurt along with the pickles in the yogurt and the lamb. It's a wonderful taste. Unfortunately tonight, I don't have any white sauce or Mediterranean sauce, so we will be doing it sans the sauce. And we will continue to cook these boys, and we'll be back. Okay, we're back at the grill, and they've been turned a couple of times. I'm cooking them a little bit longer because, as I said, I want them well done as opposed to medium well, the way the experts say you're supposed to eat them. The experts say you're supposed to eat steak rare or medium rare. I like my steak well done. Anyway, you see the nice grill marks, right? Really charred grill marks on these boys. And if you really want to get fancy, you can do a technique where you turn the meat this way against the grain, like so. Continue searing, and then what you get is a crosshatch sear, like a checkerboard. I'm not really into all of that. I just want to sear the lamb chops and eat them. So just wanted to show you how you can do that. Again, you can just take it, turn it this way, going against the grain of how they were searing first time on. And when I turn it over, it will have a nice crosshatch sear. And that's how some restaurants do it, but we're not going to do that in this video. Okay, just for the sake of edification, I'm going to show you what the crosshatch sear looks like. So if you can see, the sear on this meat is this way, and then it's the long way as well. So you get kind of a crosshatch sear. I don't know if you can see it that well. But that's what you want if you're going for the crosshatch sear. It's a nice little technique. And actually it cooks the meat in a different angle and makes it a little bit more well done. Okay, just taking a moment to show you the sear on the second set of Lollipop lamb chops. You want to get that sear in there nice and charred. The little black spots on top of the lamb chops are charred garlic. And that gets seared right into the meat. And you take that first juicy bite, and the flavor just explodes in your mouth. And then it melts. This is a better crosshatch sear. You can actually see it a little bit better, how the sear is crosshatch on the meat. And it makes it, it cooks it more evenly actually. And here you have the first wave of lamb chops that just came off the grill. I'm about to do a second set of lamb chops, but I just wanted you to see what the finished product looks like. Delicious sear, nice and juicy, succulent even. And these boys are going to melt right in your mouth. And skipping right through to the finished product, this is my lamb chop with blanched, sauteed asparagus fingers with baked potato, fresh baked potato, and cheddar cheese on the potato. And I'm going to give you my signature. I'm about to sit down and grit, grease. Grit, and grease. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That wraps up our show for today. We hope you enjoyed it. Try the recipe. Guaranteed you won't be disappointed. Signing off, you're rocking and roasting and cooking with the rod.